Hello there, and welcome to Voices of Parenting podcast with me, your host, Mussi, where we talk about all things parenting, relationship, and nurtured heart approach. For the next little while, I'm going to give you little special episodes with different recordings, some of which are me responding to a specific question or topic, and some are recordings of the group coaching continued education classes that I give. Special sneak preview for you to get a feel of what we do in those classes, and I hope you enjoy. So I want to talk for a second about the pyramid of a child's needs. And this pyramid is not taken from any psychological works, just to be clear. This is a pyramid that I've sort of created based on my own experience and training as well. So this is arguable maybe, but when we talk about a pyramid of needs, when we talk about a pyramid at all, it's always that the top layers rest on the bottom layers. So when the bottom layers are in place, the top layers apply and are able to exist and are able to happen. But as soon as a lower level is threatened, right, the higher layer falls away, because ultimately the bottom layer is the most crucial and is the most needed, and it is the highest priority for anything else to exist. When you're in a swimming pool or a lake or a river, whatever, somebody is, God forbid, drowning, it's actually life-threatening if you're not trained. I don't know how many lifeguards we have here, but it's life-threatening if you're not trained to be next to that drowning person, because a drowning person, their bottom line, their bottom of the pyramid of needs is being threatened. They don't have oxygen to breathe. So they're going to be completely instinctual, like reptilian, like an animal, of how to get out of that water. And they will drown you because they'll grab you to push you down to get themselves up. They're not even going to be aware of what they're doing, because when a bottom layer is threatened, the higher logic, morals, all of that doesn't exist. So with children, of course, there's the need for food, clothes, and shelter. That's absolute, yes, 100%. Beyond that, though, before we can get to learning and growing, before we can get to skills and organization and rule following, what kids need first is relationship and approval. They need to know that there are adults in the world that see them, that have their back, that are keeping them safe and alive. Humans are the mammals that need adult relationship for the longest. We won't survive in the world without our adults. Children are too powerless. They're too small. They're too undeveloped. They can't survive, quite literally, without their adults. And so a huge part of that safety and security that a child needs to feel is to know that there is an adult at all times that will keep them safe in the world. And that comes through relationship, through looking around and seeing, oh, there's my adult, and my adult sees me. And right after that is that approval, knowing that I matter, knowing that I belong, knowing that I'm worth something to you, knowing that I contribute to the environment, that I should be here. So we need that relationship, that connection to that adult, and that approval, knowing that the adult loves us. We use the word love. Love is a big word. What does that mean, right? That the adult believes in our worth, wants us there, approves of us. So relationship and approval actually come before focusing on whether or not they're, throwing out their plate if they're 3, and if they're, not swiping their friend's face if they're 2 or 1.5. Relationship and approval, if that's in place, then all the learning and growing can happen. Then all the other things that we want to put into the environment, all the curriculum and the amazing things that we put into the playground and into the bins and on the tables and whatever we're doing in the preschool classroom, those can all be effective and important and beautiful and incredibly efficient when relationship and approval are in place. We talk a lot in today's age, it's coming out more and more and more, which is incredible, this idea of attachment, this connectedness to an adult, to have your adult that is looking out for you, that sees you. That's called now in psychology attachment. Having a secure attachment means I have an adult that I know is looking out for me. So now I am free to go explore, to go take risks, to go learn new things, to try new things, because if I fall, if I fail, the adult's there to catch me. So it's safe for me to go try. It's safe for me to be free to explore and learn. And that's how kids learn, by exploring, right? By touching things, by tasting things, by moving their bodies in certain ways. That's how they learn. That's what makes those neural connections in their brains. That's what creates those new pathways for them to know, oh, this is what walking feels like. Oh, this is what holding a spoon feels like, because I've tried it, because I held the spoon upside down, hit my head with it. And then, I'm watching my teacher use it. And then I'm like, oh, that tastes good. Okay. Brain starts learning. That's a good movement right there. That works. I get food in my mouth. So what is that secure attachment? That's me, the adult, giving an experience, a firsthand experience where the kid's actually feeling and experiencing, I see you, I hear you, you matter to me. And for a kid to be safe, to learn and to grow, that is a fundamental human need that needs to be filled. Is the foundation that's going to have the rest of all of the things you have in your classroom and your daily schedule work effectively. Because when my needs for relationship and approval are met, I am safe in the world and I do not need to seek. But like we talked about the drowning person, right? I need to know that my relationship needs are met first before I can feel safe to go. And so if they're not safe, right, I can't go explore. First, I have to get my needs met. When we think of this as this need for relationship and approval is like so foundationally important. It's the thing we need to think about before we think about anything else. And we need to make sure we're giving that all the time. It brings a new sense of kind of clarity on like, in today's day and age, it's almost scary to think about how much we're looking at our phone and how we look at our phone without even knowing that we're looking at our phone, and we don't communicate that. And so our kids just know that we're there, but we're not there. So when my needs for relationship and approval are not met, I need to seek to meet those needs. Hey, mom, where are you? Right? So some kids will kind of like head kids who think about things. They're like, well, I may not be getting my needs for a relationship met, but if I act out and shriek, mom's going to get mad at me, right? So I'll just choose approval over relationship because that's safer. And that's where we get our obedient, goody-goody, praise-seeking kiddos who are just looking at you all the time and trying to do whatever teacher wants and running to sit down at the circle, even if they don't like it or don't want to, right? Or are quickly calming down and trying not to cry. Look at me with those big eyes, but trying not to cry, because they are losing that approval is too scary. So they'll choose the not so nutritious relationship because it's like kind of lame and boring over losing that approval. But let's talk about somebody who, is not okay with this level of relationship. They need that relationship. Our heart kids, our kids who feel more than they think. Our kids, and the younger they are, the more they're heart kids, the more they're in the energy and just feeling. And they feel that need for relationship is not being met. And they're not thinking about whether or not they're going to lose approval. They don't even know yet about approval. They don't even know yet about right or wrong. They're just exploring. They have no idea. And mommy's not looking at me right now. And mommy's not giving me that sense of safety and security. I need that sense of safety and security. I got it now. Mommy's looking straight at me. Mommy's close to me. She's looking at me. She's talking with all of her passion and energy right at me. I don't like how it feels, but at least I know that I matter to mommy. At least I know that mommy's looking at me. So these heart kids are going to choose relationship over approval. And these are the kids that are getting super loud and they're looking at you when you say, no, and they laugh and they go and do it anyway because they're going to have you chase them. I have all this relationship because you're chasing them. These are the kids that are going to have your tantrums and make it all about them. They're brilliant. Look how brilliant they are. They're getting the world to respond to their need of relationship. If they have a tantrum that's really, really loud, a teacher will give them one-on-one attention. It's amazing. It works every time. And that a little bit older, they start to get, chutzpah is Hebrew, but I think it's kind of like a word that everybody uses nowadays, but cheeky, right? They're going to learn to say just the thing to push your button to get you to come right up to them. And so ultimately, the wrong lesson is learned for these children, because even when we're being warm and loving and playful and not angry and mad and punitive at all, ultimately, they need that intense relationship and they've gotten it out of doing the wrong thing. They've gotten it for going out of line. When they're kind of on the younger side, That's what's happening. They're just playing. There's like, where's teacher? Where's teacher? Once they get a little older, they've already learned the lesson. That upside down relationship. That relationship is there more when they're breaking that rule. And then it's not as innocent. It's still brilliance. They're getting their needs for relationship met. But yeah, they will intentionally be the kid who the teacher needs to come to in the playground. Because guess what? When they're not that kid who the teacher needs to come stop or, reprimand or help, where's the teacher? So much further away, not necessarily seeing them. There's so many classmates they need to share the teacher with. How do they know that they're going to have the teacher to themselves if they really need it? I know that if I'm that kid, the teacher will be right there. And some of our kids have deeper needs for relationship. Maybe they have some sort of sensory processing disorder, or even though they're so young, maybe they're not getting their needs for relationship met at home. Who knows, where a kid is coming from, or some kids are just more sensitive and emotional and just need that higher level of relationship. And they're exploring all the time, looking to see, where is that? How do I know that I'm safe? They're constantly asking. The younger they are, the more they're asking, am I safe? Am I safe? Am I secure? Am I secure? And so this is what the role of the classroom and the teacher is. I feeding that need for relationship and approval in a right side up way, not upside down. Like nothing matters right now. I am fully present with you, child. What gets you to have that level of relationship? What gets you to have that level of connectedness that tells the kid, I see you, I hear you, and you matter to me? Notice, I see you, I hear you, you matter to me does not have a positive or negative connotation. You matter to me a lot when you're destroying property. You matter to me a lot when you're hurting someone else. It matters to me that I need to teach you these lessons, right? Let's say like there's a lot that needs to happen. There's like a lot of diapers that need to be changed, and there's a lot of sippy cups that need to be refilled, and there's a lot of lunch boxes that need to be wiped down, and there's a lot of tables that need to be wiped down, and there's a lot of crumbs that need to be swept, and there's a lot of toys to be put away, and it's almost time for pickup, and the parents are coming soon, and there's a lot of pants to change because they got wet in the snow. So I'm focusing on all these things, right? Because they're really important, and they are. What gets me to come back to those kids when it's not the circle time, and it's not the puppet show, and it's not the reading book time. It's other, there's so many other elements as teachers that we're dealing with all the time. How do they get us back? That's what they're learning to ask. That's what they're trying to find out. Oh, when you're so focused on changing all our diapers because mommy's coming soon, I don't know if you see me. I don't know if you still know that I'm here. What can I do to get you back? Know for myself, and maybe I'm speaking for all of you and maybe I'm not. I do tend to notice the most and be the most present no matter what else is important, like no matter how many transitions I'm in the middle of or whatever. If somebody is breaking rules, getting into something dangerous, doing something that I deem unsafe or are not okay, I'm there to help them, to fix them, to teach them a lesson. Because more importantly, I have to teach that lesson. More importantly, I have to make sure they know that that's not okay. And so that's a very reliable way to get relationship. Negativity becomes a very reliable way to get relationship when I don't see that the relationship is readily available. There are times that the relationship's readily, you are very loving teachers, but oftentimes in those moments where maybe relationship isn't as readily available and I need to seek it, I find that negativity is a really good way to seek it. What Nurtured Heart Approach has kind of created, it's not necessarily new, but it's simple in the way that they've created a core like framework for making sure that I'm giving that relationship freely and cleanly, like purely in a right side up way, that their needs for relationship and approval are being met for who they are, for the beautiful gifts that they are, for the wonderful things that they think and say and do and learn, and that they're getting it for them, not for acting out, not that they don't have to feel like they have to act out in order to get those needs for relationship met, that they feel that sense of I'm important, I am seen just for being them. And what does that look like? We talk about the 3 stands. So Nurtured Heart uses this word stands, like taking a stand. Like I'm taking a stand that these children are going to know their worth, basically. And so we have 3 stands. Today, I'm really mostly going to only talk about stand 2. But really quickly, what these 3 stands are is my first stand is absolutely no. What I'm going to do around negativity and rule breaking and like moments that are not that great, that are out of line, is I'm going to be more boring, actually. And I'm not going to give the kids this kind of false notion that relationship is so much easier and more reliable to get through breaking rules and through negativity. So actually, I'm not going to teach lessons when they're getting it wrong. I'm actually not going to make that a teaching moment, because in getting into the teaching and trying to get them to learn the lesson that they should never do this again, there is so much relationship there, right? Absolutely, yes. I am going to make it that my intention to begin with from the first moment I see these children is to be constantly making sure that I am giving that relationship and approval. Am I absolutely clear? Is I'm going to be so clear about those expectations and rules. If I can't give the relationship at that moment, I'm going to be so clear about what they can expect. I'm going to let them know why, what, when, where, so that they have that security and safety and consistency to know, oh, she still loves me, right? And I'm not going to break those rules. Like if I say I'm changing the diapers now, and so the other more is available, I'm not going to break that rule and come to them and give them all this relationship and ignore all the diapers because they said poopy potty words. Because then I'm saying, I'm not available for relationship unless you break a rule. Then I'm available to you. And again, breaking a rule becomes the most reliable way to get relationship. And we are teaching an upside down message for the rest of their lives that negativity is what's most important about them, or that they need to be perfect people pleasers to have that approval in place and never get in trouble, which is also not a healthy message. So we're going to talk about stand 2, this absolutely yes. Nutritious relationship, a relationship that the child feels as relationship and translates as relationship, because you can think you're giving relationship all you want, but if the kid doesn't feel it as relationship, if they don't feel I see you, I hear you, you matter to me, then that isn't relationship that makes them safe. So for them to feel safe from what we're offering, it needs to have eye contact, proximity, and emotional intensity. So we need to be close to them or come closer, even if we're very far. Even just leaning in means I'm getting closer. That's proximity. Eye contact, I'm looking at their eyes. Emotional intensity, I'm putting my heart into it. So I want to be making sure that in those moments where things aren't going wrong, but when you are actually available for a relationship, when they're not biting, when things are going well, I want to know where my eyes are. I want to know where my body is. And I want to know what level of intensity is coming in my voice for it to translate as actually filling their need. Because it needs to have that rise and it needs to have that connectedness. That's what connected is, if these 3 things are present. So I want to be giving the secure attachment, this I see you, I hear you, and you matter to me all the time. Morning drop off. When they walk in, the first thing they get, relationship and approval. Hi! Eye contact, emotional intensity. I'm so glad to see you. Hug. Look at you walking in with your brand new boots. Approval. Look at you putting your lunchbox, giving Maura your water bottle. Approval. Look at your big smile. You're so happy to be here. Relationship. Approval, right? Diaper changing. Guess what? My mouth isn't busy while I'm diaper changing. My eyes, sort of, right? So, twinkle, twinkle, little star. Let's practice our ABCs. Ooh, look at you stretching your hands so high. Did you know that hands, how many fingers do hands have? I could still be singing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star to other kids. I could still be being silly with all my silly voices to the other kids while I'm changing the diapers. How do I have that time in? I want to think about that. I want to talk to my about that. Mealtime. Am I sitting at the table? Am I talking about their food? Am I doing my silly voices right? Am I looking at them? Am I commenting on the fact that they're using their teeth for biting food, which is appropriate use of teeth? Washing hands, again, water. I see you, I hear you, you matter. During free play, where am I? Where are my eyes? Where is my intensity? And where is my body? Where am I putting myself so that they feel this? Cleanup time. Who's cleaning up? That's who I want to see. Outdoor play. Who's playing beautifully? I'm not on the bench when things are going right. I'm here with you when things are going right. And when things are going wrong, yes, I might move you, but that's not what I care most about you. You already know that because I'm giving you so much relationship in those other moments. Again, during changing clothes, afternoon pickup, I'm singing, I'm talking, I'm blowing kisses, I'm doing my silly voices. None of these, my emotional intensity is obviously no one's always available, but I'm intentional about trying to plug relationship into these times so that they're already full of relationship. Their cup's already full. So for a minute, I'm not, they still have that security to hopefully last them in the moment that I'm not, because I'm intentionally putting in before there's a problem. That approval that we're talking about, I want them to know that they matter in this classroom, that they are contributing to the classroom. I want that to be authentic. I want that to be heartfelt, and I want that to be evidence-based. First of all, the evidence that I put into my approval, if I speak about what they're doing with evidence, like I see you using your teeth for chewing your food, so they know what I'm talking about, that's how I teach the lesson. Because remember, I want to be teaching, right? I want to be teaching that they should be gentle with their friends and not grab their friends, and that hands are for being gentle. So I need to say, see how you are so close to your friend and your hand is holding their hand, but that's the evidence, right? You're holding your hand. That shows that you know how to have gentle hands. That shows that you know that hands are for loving. So that evidence is what does it. And then what we want to add is what we can add as well to make this even more nutritious and deep relationship and approval is talking about what's great about what they just did, showing them what it says about them that they did these things. So you are great, and here is how. This is why what you did contributes so much. This is why you contribute so much, because this talks about who you are. What's next is that we can make it even more nutritious and teach more lessons and give the relationship and approval at the same time by recognizing that if it isn't going wrong, then that means it's going right. So if the kid isn't hitting, that means they're having self-control and not hitting. If the kid's not biting another friend, then that means, right, it's going right now. If the kid is patiently waiting for their diaper to be changed, then that means that they're not being impatient. And so then that's good. And so what we want to do is we want to focus on what's not going wrong so we can let the kids have this flow of relationship and approval around their amazing choices and around what's going right, so that they have this ever-flowing sense and realization that just doing the right thing and being themselves and showing up in class the way that school expects them to is a safe thing to do and is a wonderful thing to do and brings them all their needs. Their relationship and approval needs are amply filled. By discussing what isn't going wrong, we're giving them relationship and approval over what's going right and teaching them those rules and teaching them those lessons about the right thing to do in a way that gives them their needs as well. And then when we are making that request, okay, time to line up to go outside. Everyone hold on to the little thing, or even with a little baby, pick up your hand so that I could take your sleeves off, right? Say it clearly what you want, that clarity, and then focus on the positive of what's going right, instead of sort of like waiting for them to listen and kind of like reminding them or nagging them or asking them to do it again and again because we're like watching how they're not listening. Watch for any way that they are listening. And again, pour that relationship and approval over what's going right. So what are we doing? We are really trying to create rich and meaningful moments of connection when the problem is not happening. And in this way, our kids are just drawn and attracted into the relationship and into the classroom and into the vibe, and they feel safe and secure to learn and grow, which is what we want them to do, right? Especially in a school setting. And so we're giving them their needs so that they can learn and grow in the way we want. Hey, wait, don't go yet. Take a minute to find the beautiful quality that you have, that you appreciate about yourself.